Eala triggers tennis boom as Djokovic hails fan surge. Melbourne, the meteoric rise of Alexander Eala is redefining Philippine tennis and fueling global interest in the sport, according to Novak Djokovic, who praised the young Filipina's massive popularity at the Australian Open. Djokovic took note of the overwhelming turnout of Filipino fans during Eala's match earlier this week, calling the attention she draws a good problem that reflects tennis' expanding worldwide appeal. "I saw the other day that Eala has been the talk, which is understandable," Djokovic said during his post-match press conference. "Some players coming from their respective countries, and she comes from the Philippines, which is now a very big deal." The fourth-seeded Djokovic shared his thoughts after defeating Francesco Maestrelli 6-3, 6-2, 6-2 in the second round of the men's singles at Melbourne Park. He was asked about crowd congestion issues during Eala's match on a smaller court, a situation he believes highlights a positive trend for the sport. "Having too much crowd on this or any other tennis tournament is a very good problem to have. I think there are much worse problems to have," Djokovic remarked. Widely regarded as the greatest men's tennis player of all time, the 38-year-old said Eala's drawing power emphasizes tennis need to grow in emerging markets, particularly in countries with passionate fan bases like the Philippines. "Let's just imagine if there's a lack of people coming or that stands are empty. That's a bigger problem. I mean, this is great," he added. "Every tournament wants record-breaking attendance and ticket sales. It's a good sign. Obviously, we want more attention, more people coming and wanting to watch the tennis live." Djokovic acknowledged that tournament organizers could consider scheduling Eala on bigger courts moving forward, given her growing fan following and breakout 2025 campaign. "There's big interest in her. Things like that happen," he said. "You could argue that it was maybe a poor schedule and maybe they could schedule her on a bigger court. Yes, but again, she's so young and she's just coming through." Now back in the Philippines, the world number 49 is preparing for the 2026 Philippine Women's Open, WTA 125, next week, where organizers at the Rizal Memorial Tennis Center are ensuring that crowd management won't be an issue when she plays. "I didn't expect that many people to be there. So it's a learning process," Eala said. "I'm still young, so learning how to deal with all of this attention, but at the same time being grateful." Eala recently practiced on the newly rehabilitated tennis courts. She will soon head to the United Arab Emirates, where she has secured a main draw spot at the Abu Dhabi Open, WTA 500, from February 1st to 7th after receiving a wildcard entry. Eala's swing. How a tennis prodigy ignited a new wave of passion. In every great sport, there comes a turning point, a moment or a person whose impact travels far beyond lines on a court or goals on a scoreboard. For tennis in the 2020s, that moment may well be Alexander Eala's ascendancy, a phenomenon catching not just headlines but the hearts of fans around the world. What happened at the Australian Open wasn't just another match. It was the birth of a movement. A rising young star from the Philippines, a nation passionate about sport but historically underrepresented in tennis, stepped onto a grand stage and changed the narrative. The echo of that change resonated loudly in Melbourne and beyond, prompting one of the game's greatest champions, Novak Djokovic, to call it a good problem to have. Packed crowds, overwhelming support, and a surge of new eyes on tennis. The rise of Alexander Eala, breaking boundaries. Born with talent and grounded in determination, Eala's story is one of persistence, promise, and pride. Rising through the ranks of junior and professional tennis, she began turning heads long before Melbourne, with standout results that hinted at her potential to shape history. But even the boldest expectations struggled to anticipate the wave of support she would unleash at the 2026 Australian Open. Eala's match drew crowds so large that spectators crowded into every nook of the venue. Fans flocked, not only Filipinos but curious tennis lovers from around the region, drawn by the vibrant energy and the feeling that something meaningful was unfolding. This wasn't just about a player. It was about a new connection between sport and global community. For many Filipinos across continents, from Manila to Melbourne to North America and beyond, watching Eala play was more than spectating. It was celebration. Flags waved, voices cheered, hearts synced with each point. In a sport that often seemed distant from many parts of the world, here was a reason to feel deeply invested. 2. Djokovic reflection. Seeing a sport renewed. Novak Djokovic, one of tennis's most decorated champions, has witnessed countless memorable moments in his career. But as he sat in a press conference after a routine match, he couldn't help but turn his attention to what unfolded at Eala's court. His words, that overflowing crowds were a very good problem to have, were significant not just for their positivity but for what they represented, an expanding universe for tennis. When Djokovic described the surge of fans at Eala's match, he wasn't merely commenting on ticket sales or crowd management. He was acknowledging a cultural shift. Tennis, long seen as a sport centered around traditional powerhouses in Europe, Australia, and North America, was now seeing fresh energy from new geographies. The Philippines, and by extension, Asia and other emerging regions, were staking their claim on the global tennis map. More than that, Djokovic's remarks signaled something about tennis itself. That greatness isn't only measured in Grand Slam titles or rankings, but in the stories that bring people together. The swell of Eala's supporters reminded the sports legends and organizers that the game thrives when it resonates deeply with people everywhere. 3. A booming fan culture beyond Melbourne Park. Fan culture in tennis has always had its champions, the loyalists who follow every Grand Slam, the diehards who wear their country's colors with pride. But the phenomenon around Eala feels different. It isn't just attendance, it's participation. It's energy. The scenes at the Australian Open weren't without their controversies. Some traditional tennis observers noted that the exuberance of fans, cheering loudly even midpoint, broke with long-standing tennis etiquette. But such moments reveal something fascinating. New fans bring new interpretations, new excitement, and sometimes new norms. In that clash between tradition and transformation lies the heart of growth. What matters most is not whether fans fit an old mold, but that they care. They came. They cheered. They made their voices heard. And in doing so, they reminded a global audience, and the sport itself, that tennis can belong to everyone. 4. The broader ripple effect, inspiration and opportunity. When a rising star from a country not previously seen as a tennis powerhouse captures global attention, the impact reaches far beyond the baseline of a court. 4 young athletes in the Philippines,